There are lots of other ways to do it. Anything else that you think has really made a difference?
Well, I think the whole conference of violence against men and saying for years prior, we got into money into violence and public health issues. And that's relatively new, and I think it's made a big difference. Still a lot of work to be done in terms of violence to the elderly, women who are young, pregnant women. The statistics show that a very high number of women are battered while they're pregnant. Independent women of color and poor women, in terms of getting into shelters and getting the kinds of preventative services that they need. So it's a lot of work to be done, but I think that whole work that many in this room have done with respect to violence has been tremendous in the young men's case.
And have the statistics actually gone down in violence against women? I don't know that.
No.
I don't think so, but I think just recognizing we wouldn't even have, for example, the program I worked in at the state level on violence security in terms of women and families wouldn't have been there if it didn't work. Yeah, I mean, so, but there's still a lot to be done. I mean, I'm not saying all is well, because I'm the biggest critic of a lot of the stuff that's going on.
And the relationships that are coming from the war situation, and the returning veterans who come out of this traumatic situation that they've been in. And you are seeing rising rates of violence in those areas.
Women in leadership positions, women who are integrated into areas where men have dominated, such as the military, such as politics, such as business and all. Would you say that there are advancements, certainly small advancements? But
I would like to see less in the military and more in some places. Yeah, I think we are accepting that as possible, and we weren't in the beginning. I can remember having discussions when we were talking about Equal Rights Amendment. Well, if you get the Equal Rights Amendment, you know you're going to have to go into the military services as well, as if that was going to stop women from deciding on equality. But you're right, this is very much, you're seeing more men and women working together, number one, in these areas. But we still have a long way to go. There's still no change there.
On that note of women being employed at a higher level, a couple of things that I want to point out. One, globally, we see more women leaving their homes to seek employment. This is unprecedented. This is very new, relatively, I don't know, maybe the last decade or so. And they're not doing it to follow their men, they're doing it because they're securing employment on their own. And what's happening to the children and the land and the culture and all that is a whole other conversation which is not being had because this never happened before.
Exactly, it's new.
Right. And then secondly, I wanted to sort of lift up what you started with about the U.S. exceptionalism, that it's a lot of the women are coming here to care for the children of the women who are getting these employments at high level, and there's a huge racial ethnicity kind of gap that needs to be recognized. So one hand we celebrate that these women are getting these really equal pays and high positions.
There's still a sort of secondary level of women who, or maybe it's tertiary, but of women who are not getting the benefits of a lot of the things that we're talking about. So all of these are still out there to be done. Anything else that you think has really made a significant difference? Yes?
I would say women getting married at a later age in life.
Women getting married at a later age in life. Or not at all. Yeah, because again, if I look at my age level and what would happen then, if you weren't really getting ready to get married by 20, you were doomed at that stage. You were not going to get married again. So it is not that kind of pressure anymore on the part of women who had perceived getting married was to give them their own independent lifestyle. Now, that is not necessarily as true as it might have been some years ago. Yes?
I would say on that same line, just in general, perceptions is really important, how perceptions have changed. So there are so many role models for young women to look to encourage them to also seek leadership roles. And in terms of lifestyles, also women marrying or having children. It's almost looked at as an optional as opposed to being sort of the standard. And so many perceptions have changed, which has made it, which I think is, in terms of overcoming sexism, has really encouraged young women to seek a lifestyle that really, where they can really manifest their own potential in a way that they see it from their own perspective, in relation to their families and society. So.
This also happens to be National Women's History Month, as you probably all know. And one of the things is the modeling that you just mentioned, because for very many young women, there were no models in the past. They were not out there so that you learned about them in school, or you saw them in books, or you had them in your own household. Now you see them all over the place. So it does give young women different choices about what their lives are like. They have more choice than they had before. What about men?
I've seen in my personal acquaintances where more men are accepting the role of a stay-at-home parent, and it's not just role reversal. Sometimes it's just for a short period of time, a long period of time. So the perception about it is okay for men to switch this role without being accepted in the home. That's been very interesting. And the conflict between the generations in the family about you're not a real man, you're not out 8 to 5. Living this business about you being at home, doing women's work. Those are interesting to hear that.
I saw a couple of hands going, yeah, it was happening, but not very much.
I mean, I have a son-in-law to this day who would say, yeah, no, but I think it is, look at it.
Yeah, it might be easier here than in the Midwest.
Well, it's kind of interesting because when we began to have some of those laws passed in various states which didn't say only women could do this, and they were dependent on men also taking the time off, they found that men were reluctant to do that. A lot of men were reluctant to take the time off, so they were not using the benefit that had been given to them at that stage as well. So we haven't quite gotten that evened out all the way down the line, but it is a lot better than it used to be in terms of what women could do. But to go back to what was said here again is we need to look and see now who is being disadvantaged by this. What are the things that we are doing? Are we just creating a new level of people who are at the bottom end of the totem pole? Because they are poor, they are the ones coming from other countries, they come under all of our crazy immigration laws and all of the rest of the stuff. Women are not secure about a lot of these things that we're talking about. And we know that they can be changed very easily. We've seen them change in our society. We thought we had a law passed, and the next thing you know, it was gone. So there are lots of things that are still very uneven. And we have things that we have to do about that. Anything else that you think has been a really significant change? Yes?
Sexual education.
Sexual education. Tell me what you think is different about it.
Well, it was just, it kind of opened up discussions, or it allowed, like if a man or woman were ashamed, or something had happened to them in the bedroom, it would have been, it gave an arena for someone to discuss something that was formerly so taboo that they couldn't discuss it. And I guess knowledge is power, I guess, is the one thing I can think of.
Okay. Anybody else on that issue?
I think the opposite.
Go ahead.
There's sexual exploitation.
Right.
Because now it's okay to talk about it, those who have the means to exploit it have exploited it to the point where kids don't know their sexuality really, what it means to them as they're growing up. There's no passages that we can read so that they can understand what their sexuality is. So we're failing in the school because there isn't that passage that you can go from one thing to the other. So, I think we have the extremes in this country. We either do or we don't do. And we're losing our kids. We're losing their family unit because we have done that. So I think we have done the opposite. 2 levels. I'm not totally against educating, but
when we exploit our